And so we devoted ourselves to representing the deaf community, and in particular, significantly, the indigent deaf community, people who are of low income or of modest means. And our goal is to provide legal services to advance, again, access to justice, and to include in that wraparound social service support.
They started with the idea of providing a free service for people in need, and suddenly became the go-to place for deaf people in New York who really had a hard time accessing justice, accessing lawyers who might have been inclined to help, but really didn't have the ability, because they didn't have the ability to get translators to communicate.
Bruce and Liz provide an indispensable service that simply can't be replaced. These people have their backs against the wall and have nowhere else to go.
Bruce and Liz have really devoted themselves to being the go-to place for people in this community, and it's really remarkable, because if they didn't exist, I don't know what most of these people would do.
Yeah, my previous apartment was really awful. We had rats. My kids would see the rats. We would cry. We would try to kill them. I mean, you could clearly see mice, rats scurrying through the apartment. On my bed, I could see bugs. It was horrible. And I told my landlord all of this. He did not do anything about it. I'm lucky that my deaf friend gave me the business card with Liz and Bruce's name on it. That old apartment was bad news. I'm really happy I moved into my new apartment, and I do feel much better and more satisfied. It's difficult not having access to sign language interpreters and being able to communicate. But Liz could make phone calls for me on my behalf, also to get a sign language interpreter so we could communicate.
The New York Center for Law and Justice is unique in being an organization where a deaf client can walk through the door, and rather than waiting in line, in an impersonal waiting room with tons and tons of other clients, they can be seen immediately and talk to someone who's going to take the time to truly understand.
In a perfect world, people would understand deaf culture and would always provide an American Sign Language interpreter for our deaf clients. And in a perfect world, individuals would be able to provide the appropriate framework for the deaf to at least begin to advocate for themselves through interpreters and through an understanding of who they were speaking with in the hearing world, understanding who they were talking to when they spoke with the deaf. But it's an imperfect world. People don't understand there's a distinct deaf culture. People think that if you just write to a deaf person, you can communicate, which isn't the case, because American Sign Language is a standalone language. It's not English, and there's a range of skills that deaf people have in terms of their ability to understand, to read, and to write English, and to speak English, and to comprehend English when someone's speaking if they have some limited hearing. So in the world that we have presently, we don't have an understanding, generally speaking, we don't have an understanding as hearing people about this great divide between the deaf world and our world. And as a result of that, there's a tremendous amount of miscommunication. And the miscommunication results in tremendous legal and social difficulties for the deaf community.
I remember on the first day when I went to go work there, Bruce explained to me that even though many of the clients aren't able to afford to pay for the legal services that are provided, they should be treated with the best care that we could possibly provide. They should be treated as if they were at a law firm where the lawyer bills $400 an hour, and that's the attitude that people take at the center. And I think that the mentality that I saw there wasn't just to give somebody a fish, but teach them actually how to fish. And teach them to be able to take care of themselves and move forward.
We try to prevent people from falling out of permanent housing and into homelessness. People who are in homeless shelters, we try and get them out of those shelters and into permanent housing. We have people who arrive here on the shores of America and they're deaf, and they come to us and they ask us to apply for political asylum for them, and we're working on a number of those cases. We won one of those cases so far. We've given someone a new life here in America because we were able to win that case for this deaf man. We represent single moms, some of whom are victims of domestic violence. We help to guide them and we're involved at times in securing protective orders to protect them against abusive spouses or boyfriends. And at the same time, we're helping those single moms support their family and stay on the right track in terms of their work. We have older people who've come to us who need assistance. We try to support people in a range of ways. Yeah, I find it's a privilege for me to serve as a lawyer, and that's because I get great meaning from trying to make, even if it's one person's life just a little bit better, get great meaning from that, from serving, from coming to the office every day and serving and helping and trying to advance in our own unique, particular way the rights and the welfare of others who aren't as fortunate as us. It's beyond just meaningful. It can be ecstatic to close the door at the end of each day and feel as if I've done something for 1, 2, 3, 4 people, made their life a little better, prevented them from going into homelessness, helped secure perhaps some benefits that they need so that they can put food on the table. It's the reason I went to law school, and I feel really lucky that I have this opportunity to be here.